Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News. Quick update video for you guys this evening as Sentinels are becoming increasingly connected to the former XSET Core. Their former coach is rumoured to be joining Sentinels for the upcoming season, and I've got an entirely, potentially, leaked roster for you guys today, with Ardiis coming in instead of TenZ, potentially. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate just about hit 32,000 as well. Let's keep on going. Firstly, Sentinels say this because leaks have been arising. Just this to say real quick, especially on the Ardiis thing, because we believe FPX will be going to Na'Vi next season, but potentially without Ardiis because maybe he got big offers from somewhere else. Of course, the chamber player for that team. Apparently, Nuki is maybe going to move to that chamber role from G2 to join that team. That is very exciting. Maybe arguably why Na'Vi are at the top of Bodork's kind of a, hype list for the EMEA region, with Na'Vi potentially getting Nuki plus the other 4 from the former FPX team, with Ardiis going elsewhere. So look, if Ardiis is indeed going elsewhere, where has he got his big offer from? Is it from another European team? Is it from an APAC team? Or is it potentially from a North American team? We'll see here the possibility in just a second. And just on that note, one of the former players from Na'Vi as well is currently in discussions with the Istanbul Wildcats. So just kind of confirming that indeed Na'Vi do seem to be going down the FPX direction without Ardiis is the present rumour. Now, let's speak about North America because Cloud9 apparently have done the deals with Ye and Zellsis. The contracts are signed. The players are good to go, will join the roster alongside Leaf, Vanity and Zyppan, and that's going to be their team of 5, super team some are calling it. We shall see, of course, in due course. Now, they are bolstering their coaching staff. This you will see from a lot of teams going forwards that maybe up to now didn't have, coaches, analysts, performance analysts, psychological analysts, or coaches, this type of stuff. Some of these teams, if they are paying as much as they are for some of these players, will also be bringing in more analysts. Now, MCE, formerly of the Guards, will apparently be joining Cloud9 for the upcoming season. This, of course, confirmed here, or at least rumoured, in George Geddes' article, saying he will join alongside Ye and Zellsis, both of whom were signed by the organisation last week, saying the deals are done, everything is set in stone. Yes, the confirmations are yet to be arriving, but yes, we believe Ye, Zellsis, the other guys as well, alongside MCE, as one of the new coaches for the roster. Interesting stuff, no doubt, that they're moving down this direction, and that is where a lot of the news comes from today, especially on the Sentinel side as well. Does this mean in the long run, coaches from these certain former teams will bring their ideas and philosophies in terms of which players they really liked working with from former rosters to these new rosters? That certainly is a possibility, especially when we talk about Sentinels. George Geddes says the following: Sentinels is said to add 2 new coaches to revamp the Valorant roster. We saw this news now a few days ago that there were some new coaches on the way into Sentinels, and they were going to shake up the team, shake up their discussion in terms of who they wanted to be the IGL for the roster, and therefore ShahZaM was going to go. Those 2 coaches have now been confirmed to be, at least at George Geddes. Grenade confirmed. Psycho will join as the head coach, formerly of course of XSET, and Kaplan will be there as the strategic coach. The roster is not yet complete, but look, they've been talking to a lot of players. We have a reasonable idea as to at least the names of 2 of the players, and now with the head coach being the former XSET head coach, and this is a really great pickup, honestly, because the personality, I'm sure, is going to work fantastically well. But if indeed this is the case, then you would for sure imagine he's going to be bringing along at least 1 or 2 of those former XSET players, especially if he's one of the guys that has a very different opinion on who the IGL of the team should be. Is Dephh going to come with him? You would certainly imagine that could be the case. As is discussed here in the article, former XSET coach is set to join Sentinels as the head coach. Former Ghost Gaming coach Kaplan will join as the strategic coach. Interesting stuff, of course, because Ghost Gaming also a very good team towards the end of Stage 2 last season. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for Sentinels, didn't really deliver at the playoffs, right? To which point they came last and Sentinels were able to still qualify for the LCQ. But yes, will Kaplan put in a word for a couple of his players? Of course, Nismo was probably the most hyped player on that roster. Probably not going to join Sentinels straight up, but certainly one thing to keep in mind down the line if they're looking for other options and the general manager, let's say, wants some decisions to be made. As of writing, the Sentinels roster remains incomplete, but Sentinels have remained active in the market, but several deals are yet to be finalized. They have several things on the way, yet to be confirmed. The full roster should be completed soon. It remains unlikely that both TenZ and ShahZaM will be part of the starting roster next year, since both of their respective contracts will expire at the end of the year, as first reported by esports. So that is interesting, right? That TenZ and ShahZaM, yes, their contracts are up. That doesn't necessarily mean they can't re-sign, but of course, you've got to consider that George is saying that it's unlikely they will be retained. And we saw the other day that ShahZaM and TenZ may not be the priority of Sentinels, and it seems right now rather likely that certainly ShahZaM is gone, but TenZ might still be gone as well. Now, speaking of ShahZaM, I thought this is interesting. He was actually browsing the Reddit thread on this, and because of course many people are very optimistic, Sentinels fans, about the potential of at least, well, having an actual coaching staff, like a proper analyst, a proper head coach here that has some experience doing that. We believe Raucus is going to be making way. Of course, he was the head coach, but never really had that much experience in that particular role before, or, you know, who knows what's going to happen afterwards and going forwards. But as ShahZaM says, who do you think I tried to get before Raucus? Maybe implying there that he was trying to get one of these two guys on the team before Raucus became the final option they had. So thought that was rather interesting that ShahZaM is kind of saying, look, I wanted these guys in, but we couldn't get them when we wanted them, I suppose. But of course, look, with Hiko coming in, the former XSET head coach, what does that mean for the former XSET lineup in terms of joining this team as well? We are seeing that the former OpTic core of FNS Victor Crashies plus Chet, their coach, is likely to join NRG going forwards. So you would very well think if the head coach of that team is going to be going, then why not bring along at least one or two players? Zyppan is arguably top of the list after Cryo, like arguably their best player. You would think that Zyppan to Sentinels is a very likely possibility as it stands. So, you know, that is, well, presently being rumored. Now, the other guys might not have quite the same luck, but also they need an IGL, right? Who is the IGL going to be? We believe everyone's saying ShahZaM is going to be gone. And if that is the case, given the experience with Zyppan and also, well, with the head coach in Hiko joining the team, why not bring Dephh along as well from that roster, right? Because I think that was kind of the discussion here going into this offseason. Like, okay, look, in terms of IGLs, you want to get FNS some OpTic, but after that, who's your next target, right? Maybe Dephh is right up there and probably makes a fair bit of sense here as well for the Sentinels roster going forward, especially given the pedigree and the kind of, well, the existing chemistry with some of the players they might bring in. So don't rule out that possibility either. And unfortunately, BCJ, it seems semi-unlikely he's going to be able to join here, but honestly, who knows at this point? As I say, it seems likely that Sentinels are going to build around some sort of former XSET core, which could be boring, could be exciting. We'll see, right? Because it's not going to be the same as the old Sentinels, it seems. They have made their intentions very clear that they are intending to build like the best team in the world, not just a team that necessarily appeals to the fans and the like, but it might not be their best decision either if TenZ is going to be let go. Now, of course, some couple of replies here, and Hiko even replies to this one. Now, thanks to Football Saf for pointing this out to me a couple of days ago, because apparently Mr. Funhaven, I'm not really familiar with this guy and exactly what he's up to here, but you can see his bio is completely blank, but he is followed with by many people who are notable within the scene, let's just say. Now, he was asked the other day to have a Sentinels leak, and he said the following. Now, I've kind of hinted at this over the last couple of days or so, but didn't really want to mention it until we saw news like we have just seen that further implies this is viable, right? So this is what he said in terms of what he was hearing, that yes, dapr, we saw maybe a week or so ago now that we believe dapr is going to stay, one of their early picks to stay on the team. Marved, we're pretty confident will join, so that makes sense, dapr and Marved. Then Zyppan and Dephh, that makes a lot of sense, right, in terms of the IGL and bringing Zyppan as well from the former XSET team. Now the coach seems to indeed be joining Sentinels, and that is the case. And then they need a chamber player, right? And in terms of either you keep TenZ and make him the chamber, which maybe isn't the way to go. Now look, out of the other options on the market, Dicey, B-Dog, these type of players, like look, I have no issue keeping TenZ over those two players, but maybe if Ardiis is available, as indeed he is, and will not be joining Na'Vi as it seems with the former FBX team, then, you know, maybe Ardiis is the option here. So look, it's a very interesting team. If it was this 4 plus B-Dog or plus Dicey, I'm like, well look, why not just keep TenZ? And you know, still, if they do get rid of TenZ, it will be a massive upset within the scene, really, that they decided to move on from TenZ, given the history and the situation there. And of course, look, the whole Marved TenZ thing also might create a bit of friction due to, well, some drama that you guys may well know about from a couple of years ago now. So maybe that's one of the other reasons why they don't want that to be the case. So just one to keep in mind, that this roster was talked about a couple of days ago now, and now we look at the way things have developed over the last few hours and seen that the XSET core may well be going to Sentinels, and now this gains a fair bit of credibility that Dephh, Zyppan, dapr, Marved, and Ardiis could be the team of 5 that Sentinels are presently looking at. And of course, it coincides decently with what Mr. Funhaver here actually says when he says, wow, this is going to be legit, right? So he kind of maybe heard this rumor, then sees the discussion from George Geddes about the fact that, yes, indeed, Psycho's going to be joining the XSET guys, potentially coming along with him, and now it adds more credence to this possibility, especially with what we saw with Ardiis, right? So yes, definitely intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Do you think there's any legitimacy to it? Because still is surprising to me that TenZ might be on his way out. Maybe they couldn't come to an arrangement in terms of money or, whatever contract stuff, because TenZ's contract at an end. I'm sure he wanted a pay rise or something pretty significant, right? And maybe they decided, you know what, look, we're not going to bother with that. We're going to go fully all out for the absolute best players we possibly can in their respective roles and go for a team like this with dapr, Marved, Ardiis, Dephh, and zyppan. Like, look, it's not the most exciting team in the world, especially compared to what Sentinels fans might be used to, but look, it's still a scary squad on paper. So very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, take care, and I'll see you next time.